Hey you guys, welcome to my kitchen. I am so excited to show you how to make a galette. Now, before I get started, I will confess that cooking with Kristen is a rare, I was gonna say treat, but maybe burden. When our team at Mercy House suggested that I use our French rolling pin that comes in our February Fair Trade Friday box in a recipe, I was immediately taken back and wanted to say maybe I'm not the right person to do that. But when I saw what the recipe was that's included in this month's booklet, I was like, oh wait, I know how to do that. And so I have been making galettes. Actually, my family has for a long time. It's a French recipe, and I'll tell you sort of that story in a minute. But you can find the recipe that I am sharing today on the back of the, there was a tag or a belly band that came on your French rolling pin. And it says French rolling pin and where it's made. And then if you turn it around, I have taped mine to cardboard so that I could follow it. It has the recipe for a pear and honeyed goat cheese galette. And so I've actually been making galettes for a few years. A friend of mine who is a hairstylist used to cut my hair at her house. And every time I would leave, she ended up moving away. But for a few years, when I would go to get my hair cut, she would also send dinner home with me. She felt like that was a ministry that she could provide to my family. And so I would leave with a new hairstyle and dinner. So that was obviously highlight in my life. But she used to make galettes for our family, and I had never heard of it before. And so it's really easy. It's basically like a French version of a pie without the pie dough on top. But it's, pies are like uniform and they all are the same. They go in a pie pan and they have filling. And so there's way less pressure with a galette. And I've already gotten my French rolling pin all ready with some board butter. Let that set, wiped it off a few days ago, and now I'm ready to get started. And so I am what you might call a lazy cook. I'm not so great with following recipes because I like to use what I have. And so I had most of the things for this, but I also have a store-bought Pillsbury pie dough because we're not fussy at my house. If you want to make a homemade pie dough, pie crust, you can. You'll just create a pie crust like you normally would, but I pulled one out of the freezer, and so I let it defrost and get really soft. And so you're just going to roll out that pie crust as much as you can. And so basically you want it to take as much room as possible. So you're going to roll it out as thin as it will go. And our rolling pin is actually from our group called Forged in Hope in Kenya. And when our team was there in September, just a few months ago, and we're going to include a really short clip on our YouTube channel so you can see, Stacy's actually asking questions about the wood and the size of Nicholas. She's asking those to Nicholas, who is the artisan leader of this portion of the wood portion of Forged in Hope. And so we were in Kenya and we were picking out this item, the size. They had actually never made this before. And so we explained, what a French rolling pin is and what we were going to use it for. And so it started that process way back in September, almost 5 months ago, and made its way to our house in Texas where volunteers got it ready. And so a lot of hands have touched this, and it's provided a lot of hope and empowerment and honestly just food on the table it's going to help you get food on your table in a beautiful way, but it put food on the table of our artisans because it provided work for them. And so it's very similar to a regular rolling pin, except it has the long skinny ends, and you can read about a lot of different things you can do with a French rolling pin. So I've got my pie crust all spread out, and then I'm going to take all the ingredients, which you can find on the recipe. I've got my goat cheese, which I'm going to put in a bowl, and I have my pears. Actually, I'm going to wait on the pears. I have my brown sugar, and I love getting to use all of my fair trade pieces that have been a part of this journey of really creating a home that tells a story. And so just in your view of what you can see in my kitchen, I have so many beautiful fair trade items. This recipe or book holder actually came in Fair Trade Friday in January. If you missed it, you can grab those on our website. This honey, little wooden honey holder, we sold a few springs ago. And so we're going to take 3 tablespoons of honey, and I'm just, again, a lazy chef. So I am going to guess, because really can't have too much honey. So that's about 1, 2, and honey and cheese. If you've never had honey and cheese together, and you could actually substitute with like feta or Gorgon, I think it's, I don't know how to say it, but it's a stinky cheese. Anyway, cheese and honey are such a good combination. And then we're going to add our nutmeg in. So add that. And then I'm just going to stir all of this up. So again, this is the cheese, honey, and nutmeg combination. And you want that enough honey to cover the cheese. So I'm going to add a little more honey. Okay. So once you get this delicious, like sticky mixture, get that nutmeg all, you can dump it right in the center of your galette. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of spread it out. So again, we have made all kinds of galettes. We have made savory ones with basically what we have in the kitchen. So it might be zucchini or squash and tomatoes, mushrooms. You can make it really savory, or you can do a sweet one. So I'm gonna add a little more cheese to mine, just to give it a little more flavor. And I think that's what I love so much about galettes. I will sometimes just look in my fridge and say, okay, these are the things that I have. This is what I can do. All right, next, you're gonna take your pear. I've also used apple, and you're gonna just kind of do like a circular pattern. Start maybe on the outside and go all the way into the middle. So something about honey and pears and goat cheese, it is paired so well together. Again, you can see I already gave up on making this look really beautiful, but it's gonna bake and be so pretty. All right, so I've got my pears on top, and I'm gonna drizzle a little more honey because this is definitely gonna be sweet with some savory hints to it. All right, so my recipe has me preheating the oven at 400, which I've done, and I rolled everything out. I've laid it on top. The next thing you want to do is you want to fold up the dough up over the edge to create a crust. And I was reading about galettes because I'm not an expert, but I wanted to be able to tell you what I learned. And it was kind of funny because it was like, what people love about galettes is they're not perfect. And I'm like, that is actually my kind of recipe. And so you just take it and fold it end over end. And so you're creating your own border for it to cook in. I don't know if you can see this. It's actually really pretty. And that border is going to keep it from spilling out, all right? And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to take some egg white and you're going to brush the entire thing, especially that dough. That's what's going to give it that sheen, that buttery baked, beautiful effect. So I've got it all over my pears, all over the top. All right, so I'm going to stick this in the oven, and I'll make sure I turn the camera back on so that you can see the finished results. It only has to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. So this entire recipe, my camera's been going for 10 minutes. My oven just preheated. So this is 30 minutes from start to finish. And it's, a homemade meal that feels like, you've done something significant. All right, so I'm gonna get this galette in the oven, and we're gonna do some magic, Kristen, in the kitchen. And the next time I see you, you'll get to see my finished galette. All right, you guys. Here is the finished product, this delicious galette that is going to be cut up and enjoyed for lunch today. So very excited, it smells incredible. The last item I wanted to talk about, kind of a behind the scenes, we're gonna attach some video of our art camp that happened in September in Kenya, but one of the items that came from that art camp is this really cute notepad. So this is also in your February Fair Trade Friday box, and as you can see, I have added to my grocery list because now I'm out of pie crust and I need to make more galettes. But we're really excited about all of the pieces that were stamped by our teen moms in Kenya as a part of our Sana art collection. Sana is the Swahili word for art. And we'll attach a video where you can see the girls painting and drawing and stamping these really sweet little images that are now on a notepad to help you remember important things like pie crust for your galette. So I hope you enjoy your box this month, and make sure you tag us fairtradefriday.club so that we can enjoy what you make.